Welcome to the Asbestos Knowledge Empire.
What does asbestos management mean to you?
I used to really struggle with the asbestos management at my site, but now it's a breeze.
It used to be really expensive. I was paying loads, but now I've got my asbestos power team in place. It's so much easier.
Asbestos can be a pain in the arse if not handled right.
We had to stop the job because asbestos was discovered. Now we don't have that problem.
Asbestos management is easier than you think. Asbestos management. Be proactive, not reactive. Think about asbestos first, not last.
And now your hosts, best-selling authors and asbestos experts, Ian Stone and Neil Munro.
Welcome to the Asbestos Knowledge Empire. I'm Ian Stone.
I'm Neil Munro.
So today we've got Cassandra Fernandez in Australia. It's a bit unusual because here it's Monday evening, it's 10 o'clock, I haven't got a beer in my hand, and Cassandra is the other side of the world, and what is it, 8 a.m. now?
Yes, and we've got a coffee.
Nice.
So
Are you in the office?
No, we're actually self-isolating, so definitely working from home.
Yeah.
The key. So I've got a nice little setup in a bedroom overlooking the golf course.
Yeah, you've been inside for 2 weeks, haven't you, mate?
Yeah, I've been on complete lockdown. I had something 2 weeks ago, which kind of knocked me out for a couple of days. So I've been on 14 days isolation. So that comes to an end today. So I'm free to take my one walk a day.
Yeah.
Your restricted walk.
Yeah, that's how it's crazy, isn't it? What's happening in the world. Yeah. So no, it's great that we've finally got to talk to you.
This has been what, like, it's like a baby.
Oh, I know.
Like 9 months in the making or something.
Exactly, yeah. When you like approached me, I think on LinkedIn, and then it's been a long time coming. I think our schedules clash quite a bit. Obviously, been in the industry and working a lot, and after hours as well. So yeah, finally.
Yeah, because when we first spoke, you were like, "Oh yeah, no, we should be able to fit something in," and then it all went absolutely bonkers, and you were God knows where.
Yes, working remotely a lot, like with minimal reception, and it was crazy, but. Yeah, at least now we've got a bit of a chance to catch up. And,
exactly. Nobody can go anywhere, so it's time to have a conversation.
Exactly.
How are you finding that, like, business-wise? How are you coping with it financially, and you worried at all?
Our business is keeping us informed quite a lot. We actually have a business update usually like once a week ever since this has come up. So we've just been trying to, take every means there is, like, of getting people set up in their homes with the relevant equipment and everything they need. Obviously, a lot of work has been, put at a standstill. So a lot of businesses and stuff are, currently closed, or everyone's working from home. So that's kind of at a standstill at the moment. But we do have quite a bit of school stuff which is scheduled for the new upcoming Easter holidays, which at the moment is still a go-ahead, but things can change. So we're just waiting and collaborating with the government to see what's the next stages and steps for us in isolation.
Yeah, we had quite a lot of schoolwork booked in, but I've been kind of trying to beat the drum saying, no, this is a really good time for us to get in there, because it makes our jobs even easier for once.
Exactly.
But at the moment, no, they've all been stopped. So, which I understand, I get, but it's just frustrating. This is the best time to ever do asbestos removal. Or
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, when you have the whole school in lockdown, pretty much, like no one's there. So perfect. But anywho.
Yeah. So it's good. It's really good to have you on. Thank you for coming on.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, I just wanted to kind of get your take on what it's like, asbestos removal and asbestos remediation, and what the analytical job's like in Australia compared to the UK, and just have a bit of a general catch-up, general chit-chat. So do you want to tell us about yourself and your career and those bits?
Yeah. Oh, well, so I actually have a background of forensic science. So I have a bachelor in forensic science, and so it's just as one of those things, you never go to school going, I want to be an asbestos consultant when I grow up. Do you?
I've not met one person yet.
No, so it's something you just kind of fall into, I guess. So, yeah, I was doing forensic science, and it was quite hard to get a job in that industry at that time. A lot of they weren't really hiring any civilians. It was mainly like sworn-in officers were going into that industry. So then I had to look like for other things, and I know I spent a little bit of time working at a funeral home,
Wow.
assisting in embalming.
Wow.
Yes, which is pretty mental.
Yeah.
And so I was doing that for a bit, and even doing just general funeral directing and stuff like that. That was pretty weird, but
that wasn't fun enough for you, so you thought you'd have more fun in asbestos.
Exactly. Well, it was the closest thing I could get to forensics. Like, I was like, well, dead people like working biological hazard. That's it. But yeah, and then I think I seen like a job come up online, and it said like relevant like hazardous material experience. And I was like, well, biological hazardous kind of hazardous materials, and then I went for this job. I had no idea what asbestos was. I just Google searched it real quick before my interview, and then I got it. And then I've sort of like in that first year you kind of buddy with a consultant that's obviously trained and experienced with asbestos. So I think I spent a lot of time working at one large major soil remediation site.
Right, okay.
It was literally like a year, and it was like kind of down the road from my house, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
Didn't have to travel very far.
Yeah, that's unheard of.
Yeah, exactly.
Get a big job that close to your house.
I know. Usually it's miles away. So, but it was pretty cool, and I spent pretty much a year on that project. Like, it was actually major, large remediation project. So, and then I learned, and I think I've just kind of grown with it and stuck with it. And now, 9 years later, almost 10 years later, still doing it.
So what's the kind of the roles, like disciplines? Do you kind of learn surveying and analytical air testing all at the same time, or? Yeah, well, see, a lot of people, so when you start out here in Oz, I know, you go kind of into a consulting role. So you start with the basics, like essentially you're like a pump jockey. I don't know if you guys call it there. Yes, so that's what you get started with. So you just pumps on and off, and we have a lot of that kind of work here as well. We do have a lot of just little removals and stuff like that. But I've actually been really lucky in the sense that the companies that I've worked for, they've never been quite small and doing a lot of residential stuff. Mine have been mainly large infrastructure and industrial sites. And so I've been quite lucky. I didn't have to do the really, really crummy work, which is just a little residential down the road or something like that. But you kind of start out doing asbestos fibre air monitoring and also learning the analytical side of that, because we do have a lot of site labs and site lab establishments here set up. Clients here love that we can analyse in real time and straight away once the removal's done to give them results. So I think that's a really big thing here, and actually in fact it's progressing more into having an on-site NATA accredited bulk ID laboratory as well.
Oh, right.
So we do that a lot, and a lot of our clients rely on that information to be turned around
on the day.
So
I suppose because the country's so large as well, and the sites can be spread out, so there is more of a requirement for that there. I mean, there are some labs in the UK that do have the bulk laboratory in the van that can go around. But it's more of a rarity because, we're such a small island. You can get the samples back relatively easily and quickly. Yeah, exactly. Well, for us as well, our company, we are kind of one of the few NATA accredited site laboratories around the country. Right. So virtually, and we have offices all throughout Australia. So virtually, it's really good for us. And now we're finding it more of late that clients love that because, you think about working in
power stations or something like that in real time, like things are moving, like when they have outages or shutdowns, they need the jobs to progress because obviously time is money. So, being able to give them results straight away, and they're usually in remote places as well. So by the time you post something back, it's going to, you've lost 2 days or 3 days.
Yeah.
So they love that.
Is that similar to our UCAS accreditation over here? Is it like an external body that accredits the company?
Yes, that's correct. So we have National Australian Testing Authority. I think that's what it's called, don't quote me, but it's called NATA. And yes, it's an external body which come and do testing of your facility and to accredit you for certain different things. So we do have that for asbestos fibre, air monitoring, bulk ID, soils, which is a different one as well. And
I think Australia and the UK do mirror each other quite a bit with kind of how we work and the levels that we kind of try to work to.
I do think that, but also because I know a lot of UK people actually come to Australia to work in the asbestos industry, so it's very much UK dominated here, like in terms of you will always have a company which has at least 3 or 4 pommies. So you'll always have that. So, but I have heard from colleagues of mine that UK is a lot more strict compared to Australia.
I know a few guys that have gone over to us. Some come over, been there a few years and come back, and then there's some other guys that I know are still over there, and they've kind of said that, but they have said that the standards have improved a lot over the years, but on a like for like, they're perhaps not where the UK is currently.
Guys are at. I heard like up until, I know when I started in the industry, we didn't even have like a license to be an asbestos assessor. I think it was just an independent person, so anyone, kind of any Joe Blow could really do it. But I think now that, like, obviously we have in place things that you'd need to show your experience and get referees and stuff like that in order to qualify to be a licensed asbestos, and it gets assessed that if you are a competent person, and I think you have to have a minimum of 2 years or 3 years experience before you then get that license. So it's quite like, it's picked up a lot like that in terms of, getting people qualified. But not only that, I've also heard that air monitoring is different. Like your pumps in the UK run at a really high flow rate compared to ours. I think the max ours usually go, like in Australia, usually we put them up at 4.
Oh, really?
Of a flow rate.
Oh, really?
4, Yes, whereas you guys, I think yours go up to like 20 or something, 15.
I mean, ours normally run at either 8 or 10 litres, but there's some companies out there, I think they run at 16 litres, which, crackers. For me, though, I don't know. I suppose it's because that's how I was trained. 8 litres is like the optimum for me in my own mind. But because, one, you don't get a lot of shit on the filter that's not asbestos. So you can really kind of hone in on it. And then secondly, while that pump's on for an hour, it gives you the hour to get all your paperwork sorted.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, the paperwork, the dreaded paperwork that's attached. I'm not sure. Like, to be honest, so our optimum is within, I think, a 400 to 600 litre range. So we try and achieve that over a period of a shift. But for the UK, to be honest, like if you ask in Australia, you very rarely get fails with that flow rate. But I've talked to my UK colleagues, and they've said that pumps on the regular fail in the UK. So it's just so crazy to think that what are we doing different? That ours are like pretty much you can bet your life that it won't have any fibres on it, more than 10 anyway. And then the UK have fails on a regular basis, which is so weird. But
well, that could be slagging off the UK asbestos removal contractors. They're not good enough.
It could be that, or it could be that because those pumps go, I reckon, to a higher flow rate, you're likely to catch more dust and fibres in the air.
Yeah, because if it is sucking that little bit more, then it will pull more stuff in, I suppose.
Stuff in,
It's a funny one. I don't know, What are the counting rules that you count to? Do you analyse them through phase contrast or?
Yes, we do. We analyse it and we count, I think, to 10 fibres per 100 fields.
Okay.
So 100 fields, 10 fibres. Is that something you guys do as well?
Yes, we normally on a slide it's 200 fields and.
200 fields.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, we only count 100 graticule. So.
Okay, so that again kind of shows you why the results will be different because we're counting double the amount of fields and double the amount of fibres.
Yes, exactly.
I suppose it depends on the volume of air as well, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So if you're pulling more volume over a longer period, then you wouldn't have to count as much. So it sounds probably around about the same, probably.
This is the really boring part of the podcast for anybody who's listening. We've gone into deep mode.
You got to be a real asbestos dweeb to love that stuff.
Exactly.
So it's about some of your stuff then, some of your photos on LinkedIn. You've been to some brilliant sites, haven't you? Some real sort of dirty, horrible
tasties.
Yeah,
I've done some tunnels in my time. The old tunnels where they used to the war, like as part of the war, and when they had a lot of people coming in, they had like quarantine areas, and there was a lot of tunnels on that facility. I've done some of that weird stuff. Actually been quite lucky in the amount of like the different kind of sites I've got to work at. I've actually worked at an asbestos mine. It's obviously closed down now. Yeah, that was really cool. So that was in my previous company where that was amazing, like to, actually physically go to that asbestos mine. And it was...
What were we doing? Decontaminating it or?
No, that would be a lot of money. It's actually in a rural place. It's called Barraba, where the mine is. So it's a little bit close to Tamworth, the area is. So it's a kind of country rural town, not much population. So it's mainly on the foothills are like some farming areas and farmers places. But what we were actually doing was the demolition of the building and structures remaining, because they had a lot of people going in there and like kids like going in and trashing places.
About,
and it was just honestly like such a hazard, and for people to go in there is just ridiculous because there's literally tailings full, like mountains and mountains of asbestos in its raw natural form.
What asbestos type was
It's a chrysotile mine.
Okay, right.
Yes, it was a chrysotile mine, and it actually, in fact, like one day they literally got told to just drop everything and get out of there, so you can see like
ghost town, was it?
Yes, it was essentially, and you can see literally like their excavators are just left there. I've got actually a few photos on my LinkedIn of it, but it was really crazy to work there and see it in its raw form, like mountains and mountains.
You must have got a failure there.
We actually did, because we had to obviously decontaminate the plant and equipment after. So all the plant, like the excavators and everything used to do the demolition, and they repeatedly failed until.
Wow. Yeah, I bet it did. That's mad. I mean, that's so crazy that because. Neil and I said we're going to do a trip to one of the mines at some point.
Can I come?
Exactly. Yeah,
I love it.
We just want to go and see it for our own eyes. You know what I mean? And nobody gets to see that. So that was a hell of an experience for you. Fair play.
Yes, I did collect a lot of rocks as well. For my collection. Quite a large collection, and a lot of them are so beautiful. Like you have a look, how something so beautiful can literally be so
exactly
bad.
From a geologist's point of view, they're amazing. They really are.
Yeah, it's stunning. You see these veins, like they're just beautiful, intricate veins through, like all these different types of rocks, and you can even see. So I think jade is also a mineral that is formed. Along with it, so you see these beautiful colours of greens and blues, and stunning. Anyway, that's so twee. That's so twee. I'm talking about a rock like that. Oh God.
What's the worst thing you've seen? What's like the most scariest, most contaminated, or
the most scariest thing I've seen is actually people working in a industrial facility with pipes full of asbestos lagging, and it's not in the best condition, and people just poking it and it literally dropping onto them. That is probably the worst thing I've ever seen, and I'm like, oh my God, how is this happening? Yeah. I think that is really, really I think that was like a full contamination of someone, like population just spilling directly onto them. And I just think that comes with lack of training, lack of knowledge about asbestos, and it was just so crazy to see.
What are the sort of common asbestos materials kind of that you come across in your sort of day to day? Because really here, like in the UK, we have lots of like spray coatings, limpet and stuff like that. A lot of that has now been removed. We're kind of down to like boiler rooms have had a strip, still got a little bit of insulation. So what kind of like levels?
For us, I guess it depends on the setting. So, like for instance, residential stuff that is like all your usual eaves, your black electrical backing boards, in your fibre cement sheet walls, those kind of things. We have quite that's definitely prevalent throughout all of our residential kind of older communities. We do have a lot of telecom pits as well, like malted fibre cement, which are always usually in a really shitty condition compared to everything else. So
do you have like government housing and private housing?
Yes, we do have.
Is it equal? Is it equal on both of those? Because in the UK, it's more in the kind of the council, the local authority housing. Heavily used it. Not so much in the private sector.
Yeah, no, it definitely is equal on both. Like they both do have it. It's just more so that those government housing are probably in more of a worse condition than
really.
Yes, because
which is nuts to think of.
Yeah, because people don't you have people living there essentially for a very discounted rate. They don't. It's not theirs. They don't really care. So you've got like holes in walls and so they're usually in a more deteriorated. P1.
Cool. And then what on the commercial side of sort of thing?
Sorry, I forgot about that. Yes, and then in a commercial level, we have a lot of pipe lagging. So we do have lagging that remains full friable stuff, usually in not so good of a condition either.
Right.
Since of late, they have been having them sealed or painted or sealed with like a metal type cladding. But it's better to obviously remove that kind of material. So we do have quite a bit of that. We have a lot of electrical components, things like that. So I'm not sure if it's prevalent there, but we have a lot of these things. They're called HRC fuses that are obviously kind of little fuse thing that are in electrical boards. So, and internally they have some insulation at the ends. So that's a friable material, although it is encased, similar to like fire doors, it's encased, so it's not much of a risk as such. But we have quite a lot of that as well in our industrial kind of settings. We also have a lot of galbestos, so that's quite heaps of that. I've seen a lot of that in our like industrial and warehouse type surveys. Which is crazy, the galbestos, and it's actually a little bit of a annoying thing for removal as such. Essentially, it's a lot more expensive. Because you're getting rid of large metal sheets. Essentially, you can't really like scrape off the galbestos, and it's just that would take obviously longer too. But it's quite an expensive thing.
What's it like as an industry? Obviously, we've got a business. You're in the business over there, and there's enough work. However, what's the public perception like? So over here, we always feel like we're still kind of hitting our heads against a brick wall, because a lot of people still don't understand about asbestos. They don't understand the risks that it poses. It's kind of always thought about last on a project rather than first and stuff like that. What's it kind of like over there?
And it's kind of a historical thing as well, isn't it? If people think, asbestos is the 60s, 50s, that was a problem back then. It's not a problem now.
Not now. Yeah. I think a lot of it comes down to is, obviously knowledge and stuff. We don't have a lot of like advertising, on TV and stuff, like saying, asbestos.
Yeah.
This is it. We don't have that. And what our issue a lot is here in Australia is the do-it-yourself people. So the DIY home reno people, we have a lot of issues in terms of, they have little to no experience with asbestos. So they wouldn't be able to determine that this wall is asbestos and they're going out and ripping them down themselves. So I think it is, from an industrial side of thing, people know that they have to do it by law to have a survey done or have air monitoring done from I'm talking about from your, what are they called? Sorry, I've got a little bit of a blank.
Public sector type.
The ones that look after the buildings.
Yeah.
What are they called? Yeah, property, like the property management people. So property management people, they know definitely, that needs to be done, and they've got rules and the codes of practice and regulation that states that you must have like things labelled, or you must remove by a licensed asbestos removal contractor. But definitely the do-it-yourself people and the more lay people that aren't in those kind of industries and the home renovation people, those kind of places, those kind of people, they don't really have any education in regards to that. So
what are the building trades like? So electricians, plumbers, things like that are going into the buildings. Are they aware? Have they got a kind of a conscious mindset about it, or are they of the I don't give a shit mindset?
I think it would be 50-50. I think some trades, I guess, are aware that you have the right to ask to see the asbestos register or hazardous material register prior to your works. But then saying that, a lot don't. So a lot don't even know. If someone told them go drill a hole in that wall, they'd just do it. They wouldn't look at, the register or anything like that to find out if that wall in fact was asbestos or not. So I think, it comes down to even a training to those trades probably needs to be more actively.
Yeah, the thing is that's still similar here, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's exactly the same. Same issues, same problems. Yeah, I don't think any kind of country's got it right. And I think it all comes down to money at the end of the day. It's like you said, there's no advertising on what people have to do. And that's exactly the same here. There's a tiny, tiny budget for, a health and safety executive who kind of sort of polices it over here. Yeah. And they spend pittance on asbestos and asbestos awareness.
But that's only to people who request for asbestos awareness, and you wouldn't request for it if you didn't know about it.
It's that cliche, isn't it? You only know what you know.
Exactly. That's why I would think advertising would be like put it up on TVs, put it out there but we have these large hardware stores, so like the Bunnings and those kind of things. And if we had a little pamphlets or I don't know, something that came with, your renovation section side of things, that it was like advertised on there, letting people know when you're going to pick up a sandpaper or paint or something, that these advertising is there, it would be a lot more visually people could actually get that awareness about it as opposed to it's a fight. It's a battle. We probably keep continuing.
Well, that's it. Everyone's the same. Like the HSE here a few years ago in late 2000s, they spent £1 million on the what was it called? Hidden Killer campaign is what it was entitled, and which was great because £1 million on advertising. It was everywhere. They did have stuff in newspapers, things like that. But it was a very short-lived thing.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously we've got coronavirus going on at the moment, and the government yesterday or the day before spent just under £6 million on sending a letter to every household in the UK. So it's kind of, it's do you know what I mean? Money's there and has been there for these issues, and like the mortality rates here, there's over 5,000 people dying every year from asbestos.
Yeah.
And it's just crackers.
Yeah, so crazy.
So based on that, is there anything you would like to see changed, or think that should be changed?
Yeah, definitely. I think that definitely training and advertising, and mainly training as well for trades. I think you go to a lot of sites, and the electricians, the plumbers, they don't have that knowledge of that. And I think like a lot of these trades have been, probably working on this specific like plants and equipment or materials for years and years, and have probably never had that training. So I think it's like such an important part of like maybe incorporating that into their apprenticeships or something like that while you're doing the trade, like incorporating, an asbestos awareness thing into that trade. I think it would be beneficial in the long run for like a lot of trades that are exposed to asbestos whilst working. Yeah,
because that is actually that's in place in the UK.
Is it right?
Yeah. Anyone who could come into contact with asbestos during their everyday work has to have that training. So, but that's not in place in Oz.
But the problem is, legally it's in place, but it's not fully in place.
Yes.
Well, it comes down to enforcement at the end of the day. It's legally there, but
who enforces that exactly?
Yeah. It's not as policed as well as it should be.
No, but I do have. I know you had asked about some of the weird stuff and things that I have. I do have quite a large collection of some random asbestos items.
Yeah.
Some I actually purchased. I purchased one from America, which is like my prized possession. I paid $1,000 Australian for it.
Yeah.
Yes, and it is my asbestos snow. So it is that. Yes, the snow. Used. I have a box of it. It's in a little bit of a poor condition, the box, but yes, it cost me a lot of money. But it is my prized possession. It is from, I think, 1940s, I believe, 1930s or 40s. The box came from. Yeah.
Wow.
But it's pretty cool.
We've got a few bits. We've always threatened to turn it into a bit of an asbestos library, because I just find that it's really good from the training point of view to show people. And I really like the random stuff, like the dishcloths and the snow and just anything random, because people are like, it was in that. It's like, yes, it was.
Exactly. I've seen things online that it was in like hair curlers and hair dryers, and you just think, oh my God. I also have another one that's so it's a baby bottle warmer, and it actually plugs into the car. And the inside of this metal, like, warming device is like insulation board, real friable.
Wow.
Like a millboard type material. And that's for the babies. It's just put that in and then give it to the baby. Yeah. But it's so crazy the amount of things that this product was used in.
Still amazes us, every day. People, our surveyors come back and go, never seen this before, and it's like, have you seen this? And we all say, no, we've never seen that.
Never seen that. Yeah. It's really random. At least like once or twice a month, it just comes back, and like people have used it. Like it could just be like a bit of board, but then it's been used in some new weird way that you've never seen.
Yeah.
And it's like
exactly. We also have a lot of I think that an issue with a lot of importation of asbestos as well, that obviously not known, but materials being classified as asbestos free in other countries, and then once coming here, they've been held up at customs obviously for this, but we still have a lot of it getting through, and even on new build material,
shipping a lot of stuff to you guys, isn't it?
A lot of exactly. And really, like that, like there's a border force, obviously, but they're not like trained asbestos consultants. So I think like it might even pay to have, a consultant or someone qualified or trained and has knowledge of asbestos working as part of that team to make sure that these items, brand new items, are not coming into the country.
A client in Dubai a few years ago sent us some flasks, thermos flasks that you keep hot drinks in.
Yeah, right.
And sent us loads in the post. Said, can you have a look at them? And it arrived in the post, and like literally opened it. It's like, well, this is all plastic. There's nothing in here. And we stripped it, took it all apart, and it got basically down to the tube within it, and had to smash that. And then within there were chrysotile pads at the top and the bottom of where they blow. And that's where the asbestos was. And these things were being sold as asbestos free.
Free, yeah. Like, that's the thing. You would never know unless you cracked that open. But what so happens that happens and a little child does that or something. Yeah. So crazy.
It is. It's madness. It's a mad industry. And I mean, we're the same as you. Like, we fell into it. I think you're the most passionate person about asbestos that I've ever met, to be honest. And that's what I liked about your LinkedIn, because the posts that you put on there and the photos and stuff like that, it was really good to see.
Oh, awesome. Well, thank you. Yes, I am very passionate. I do I do love it, and I do love sharing those kind of things, because I get a lot of messages as well from people going, like, I never knew that, consultants even, saying that I've never seen that before. Oh my God, I'll look out for that, you know, from now on, which is so good. Like, it
is, and that's the thing with the surveying side of it. It is a kind of, you need to do your time.
Learn as you go.
Yeah. Like you say, there's still stuff out there that we haven't seen, and it's in weird and wonderful places. And
I think we've all sat there and said, and you've seen something new and you've gone, oh my God, how many of those have I missed?
That's exactly what I was just about to say.
I've never seen that. Yeah.
Oh man, that's exactly what I was about to say to you. I'm like, oh my God, in the beginning of my career, I'm thinking, oh my God, I must have missed so much things, like asbestos. Like, I had no idea what that was. I'd never even seen it before in my life. And then I think I'd come to a new company and the girl was like, oh, that's there. And I'm thinking, oh no, I've probably missed that quite a few times, because I'd never seen that before.
That is the problem with the industry as a whole, because there's little pockets of like genius knowledge, and unless you tapped into that, you can't get it. And I find that it's really difficult for new surveyors and surveyors that are learning to really tap in. So things like your LinkedIn are just like amazing.
Oh, awesome! Thanks. I'm very happy that people get out of that, like, a bit of an educational thing as well, to identify items that potentially they have never seen before. So awesome.
So one of the things that we always ask everybody that we interview is about asbestos management, and what does asbestos management mean to you?
That stumped me. Give me a minute. Let me think about it. What does it mean to?
It's a funny one. We've had so many different answers from, I don't know, like, we've had some weird and wonderful ones where people have like turned it on its head and kind of
what does a lay person need to do, or what do you think it should be? What should the company do? Who's kind of responsible for looking after asbestos?
Well, to be honest, I think asbestos management to me is not managing it in situ. I think it's removing is the key. To be removal. I think even if it is in good condition and stuff, I think why have something that is harmful on your site to begin with? Just, to me, asbestos management would be getting rid of any asbestos items on site.
Which does make sense, because that eliminates the risk completely.
Exactly. And that's like, when you look at risk ratings and stuff, that's the main thing that, always is the number one thing to do. So, I don't think managing things in situ, like, there's no point. Like, there's, in the long run, it works out costly for them. They have to get, surveying to come back every 5 years in New South Wales to get that assessed and make sure it's in a good condition or not. You have to worry about that if you're potentially going to do a refurb or demolitions type thing. So why not get rid of it? I know it is very expensive depending on the amount of asbestos you have, but I think it works out the safer and cheaper option in the long run.
That's the kind of the magic wand scenario, isn't it? If I had a magic wand, that's what I would do. Get rid of it. That's good. I like
Can't argue with that.
No, and you can't argue with that. That's it makes total sense. Because, like you say, that's the best way to eliminate the risk, is eliminate the bloody risk.
Risk, exactly. What have other people's been like? You've said that, like, people have turned that question on their head.
It's different, very different answers, and that's a different one again that we've not had. Most people kind of say, getting everything in place, taking it seriously, thinking about it every time you do anything, and don't disturb the building, etc. It's real sort of ranging answers.
We had somebody say, kind of similar to the previous bit we were chatting about, of I would get everybody trained. It was like, oh, okay, yeah, I can see where you're coming from with that. Do you know what I mean? And it's, again, that was a different answer again. So.
But that's the thing, like even that training and stuff, that all costs money. Whereas if you just get rid of that item, there it is, it's done, no training, nothing. You don't need it really because,
because we all know accidents happen and procedures, you might have all the procedures in place, only takes one idiot. And procedures out the window.
Poking the pipework that has asbestos in it and dropping,
No, it's great.
That was good. Thanks for coming on. Thanks for chatting to us. It was good to, like I say, finally meet.
Awesome. Thank you guys very much for having me. I really appreciate that. And it was really cool to chat with you and finally see you face to face, kind of. Kind of.
Yeah, well, look, good luck with the all the coronavirus stuff, and you know what I mean. I hope it all blows over as quickly as possible for you, as like it hopefully does for us. But I think we're all hunkered down for a little while yet. So.
Yeah, we are. Hopefully, our world pulls through this one. I think. Yeah. We'll need to work together.
What we'll do after this, if you want to ping me your LinkedIn profile and stuff, and we'll add the tag into the this podcast that goes out, and then for any of the guys listening that are asbestos geeks, because there's not just 3 of us, there's more.
There's plenty out there. I've met quite a few.
Exactly. We'll stick the link in there, and then you can get hounded and. Get people to come have a look at all the
spread the word. Yeah,
awesome. Will do. Thanks, guys.
Thank you. Right, so that's been a good podcast. Thanks, Cassandra. Remember, asbestos first, not last.